It's time to color it up. Beyond the gray, beyond the noise, there are distant lands of plastic and static grass, where heroes rise, where monsters clash, where dice still roll, and we become kids again.
Forgotten fables. Dust on the box, ink on the brush, then we're sleeping in a battered case. One more wash and the past wakes up. One more highlight brings it back to grace. So raise the banner, thin the paint, let the colors cut through all the gloom. We are not done with the old quest yet. There are monsters waiting in the room. In a world where everything is grim, we're going to color it up again, with plastic dreams and static grass, with heroes, monsters, dice and friends. Let the old world burn bright tonight. Let the washes run like rain. We'll fight the gray with red and gold and become kids again. There are goblins laughing in the dark. There are warriors lost beneath the mountain. There are dragons carved in memory, and old paint drying by the fountain. Every scar and every crooked line tells a story from another age. Not perfect, no, but full of life, like a legend walking off the page. So strike the chord, let the synths arise. Let the bagpipes call across the stone. From Asturias to the dungeon door, we were never painting them alone. In a world where everything is grim, we're going to color it up again, with plastic dreams and static grass, with heroes, monsters, dice and friends. Let the old world burn bright tonight. Let the washes run like rain. We fight the gray with red and gold and become kids again. Roll the dice, open the gate, light the torch before it's late. Brush in hand, heart awake, every mistake is ours to make. Neon skies and Celtic fire, rusted blades and painted wire. Old school magic, loud and true, one more quest for me and you. Not everything needs to be grim. Not every shadow needs to win. Give me color, give me chaos, give me monsters in the candlelight. Give me heroes with chipped swords and a table full of tiny wars. In a world where everything is grim, where
welcome back to Rush the Wash, everyone. How are you guys doing in this beautiful evening? Today we are going to paint, as you guys decided yesterday, this beautiful elf. I guess it's an elf dungeon explorer. She does look like an elf to me, although I don't see the pointy ears that I usually see in the elves. I guess it's part of the cape, maybe the hair, I'm not really sure. And the way I'm gonna tackle this lady is by painting the cape first. I want to do that first because it's the biggest surface, and if I allow it to dry, then I can get back to it very quick. I think it's gonna be a quick paint job. The miniature has its details, but it's not over the board with them. And it has a few things that I'm looking forward to painting, like this small gem over here in the belt, and maybe the blade. I'm gonna do something interesting with it. Maybe I should try like an NMM with my washes. We'll see. Okay, the night is young, so it's worth trying to experiment a little bit because I still have plenty of time. Today I started the stream 1 hour earlier because tomorrow's work day, and if you want to join me with this, I guess you probably have some things to do early in the morning if you're in Europe, or maybe, well, you prefer to spend your night with your family or whatnot. Pero lo primero de todo, let's get to it. So, glasses first, safety, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get to it. So yeah, there are a few details on the face that you probably cannot really see, but it's like a small printing mistake. I don't know if you can notice it. Let me see if I can adjust a little bit the saturation of my picture. Maybe by adding, there you go. That's gonna be better. There is a small mistake here in the neck, and the eye is not very clear here. But I think it is a female. Okay? Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm mistaken about it. Hola David. Bonsoir. Ça va? So, I thought it was a female, but now that I look at it a little bit better, let me get my glasses. Maybe he's just a plain elf. Oh well. I stand corrected then. I think I did something wrong here. Ça va bien? Ça va bien de toi? Allez, pinte. I don't know how to say that. Vamos a pintar. Let's start with a green. I still have some green left over from yesterday. The green that I used to paint the lichen on my vases. And I'm gonna use that because why the heck not recycle? And I'm getting a little bit disappointed now because I promise you, I swear, I thought this was a female. And now that I look closer at it, I don't see any blossom or anything going on here. So I guess I owe you guys a female. And I don't have any in this collection, which is very disappointing. I was expecting to have a female elf, and now all of a sudden it's like, whoops, there goes my female elf. Alright, well, it is what it is. Let's paint him like a wood elf then. Some green, and here, with whatever I have left over from that, it's going to be a very light wash, as you can see. Or glaze in this case, rather than wash. And from this, I'm gonna start working later on. So I'm just, it's not a preference, there is no preference here for this particular shade of green. It's just that that's the leftover, and you know, paint, it's expensive, so sometimes you just need to make do with what you got. But I want out of it already, so it's just fine by me. Let's mix a little bit more, eh? Are you painting anything tonight, David? Are you going to be painting anything whilst we're streaming here? Is the sound fine today? Please tell me that it's better than yesterday. The microphone is connected, there is no echo, just let me know. Because if I monitor it, I just cannot concentrate on painting. And I'd rather be painting than focusing on technical issues, but I also want the experience to be nice for you guys, okay? Also, I want to change something here. Just give me a second so I can see myself better. Like that. There we go. Alright. And it seems that the chat box today is working properly, but my camera is not focusing properly. Or now it is. There we go. Bueno. Let's get a little bit more. This mixture that I just made is darker than the previous one, but that's fine. Let's water it down a little bit and get from there the first coat of the cake. You see that I have on my poll today, I want to know if you guys would like to see more dungeon stuff, or if you want a change of pacing and we can go to some 40k. I have a very special thing here hidden, I haven't told you about it. I think it's special because I haven't seen anything like that. There is an echo at the moment. Alright, let me see. If I disconnect this, is there echo? Anything? Any echo whatsoever? I'm gonna wait until you answer. But as I was saying, I have something interesting in 40k that I found here at the bookstore. It's a miniature, so I'm very curious about why the format of this miniature is like that. I'll show you later after we get the vote. And we see if we continue doing more dungeon crawling or if I have to try something a little bit different. Vamos allá. I know I'm getting to the point where my streams can start without echo, without distortion, without noises. Still echo. Let me check. I think there is a problem here with this off. This is the microphone which is on, but I'm not monitoring it. And there is another one here. Okay, what if I close this? Can you hear it with echo now? So I think what is happening is my computer is picking up audio from its integrated microphone as well as this microphone here. So that's a double whammy that I don't want to be doing. And let me see if this is actually review recent microphone access. I think I need to do something about this here, but it's not OBS. It's using it currently. Okay. Well, this is something I want to play later. Okay, perfect. Now I know what is happening. I know what is happening. So there are a couple of things here. There are a couple of microphones that are picking up. My proper microphone, which is this one. This is the one that I want to work. And then I think it's also the integrated one in the laptop that I'm using for doing this. And that's why you have the echo, is because you are getting sound from two different sources. Luckily, the camera is not picking sound as well, because then it will be like a choir of Miguel's singing to you. And you don't want that. I promise you. You just want, if you want to hear me singing, you need to come to karaoke night, which is something that we used to do in Malaysia quite often, by the way. It was very fun. But yeah, I don't think my mom will be too proud of how I sounded. And anyways, reverting back to that 40k thingy. As I was saying, if you guys want to see something 40k, well, I have something there. If not, there is plenty of dungeon stuff. And I'm very angry right now that I'm seeing this. I swear to God, I primed this miniature, I cleaned this miniature, I did all the things that you do with a miniature, you know, school appropriate stuff. And I didn't notice that it was not a woman. And now I'm quite, yeah, I'm reconsidering my life choices. It makes sense now. Okay, I'm avoiding visiting Thailand. Let's put it that way, just in case, because I'm afraid that my site is not what it used to be. So just in case, just to be safe, I'm gonna avoid visiting places where I might get confused. Very. Okay, so the cape is done. Now he's wearing an Akaton. And since I want him to be a wood elf, him now, not she, I'm going to try to add as many different shades of green as possible here. And for that, I have only one green. Remember, I'm using the starter set from AK Quick Gen. So this is the only green that it comes on that. Vivid green. And I have another choice, which is doing this using these few greens that I have. Well, turquoise is technically both green and blue, so arcade turquoise, and I also have deep green. Hola Orchi, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenido, estate lo que puedas, lo que quieras y que lo disfrutes. And I have also frog green, but because I want to paint it fast, I'm just gonna be experimenting a little bit with this guy. So it's mixing and seeing what happens. So now I'm gonna use it as is. I'm gonna use that green just as is, which is this. See? And let's see where we can put a little bit of this in the miniature. Like for instance, we can use it on the tunic or the sash or whatever is this thing that he's wearing here. And you'll see the color that it comes out of it. There we go. There we go. This is the color that we have. It's different from the other one because I mixed it with yellow before, but not too different. A ver. Let's put it here and also here. Zenithal highlights, the ones that you do when you do priming like this, helps a lot on deciding, you know, what is what. It is quite useful for that because it makes you read the volumes as they are. If you prime everything in black, you need to figure it out. If you prime everything in white, it helps a little bit better than black, but you still have to figure it out. But here, I'm a little bit at a loss because this piece of cloth just goes up to here and disappears. What I can do is also paint this tabard here. And we're gonna do that. So we have like some continuity with what he's wearing. Okay. Vale. And I'm gonna paint the tunic in here. It's kind of weird clothing because the armor goes, you see, this armor is like leather. So, oh wow, I stained it. Quick. If you make this mistake, just do this very quick and get rid of it because I don't want it to be green. So this thing goes under the belt, and I'm not really sure how it actually works because then we also have this shirt underneath the armor. But I'm gonna just paint it like all of these in the same shade of green because I think it's gonna help to sell the look. Otherwise it's gonna be just too much stuff going on. This piece of armor over here in between it, there we go. Let me center the camera. It's going to be painted like the same way, so this piece of armor will go over it, and we also need to go here. I don't mind staining now because then I have to go over this with metallics and some black or some brown, probably black, so we get I think it's gonna look better in black. I don't know how to explain it, but in my mind it looks better than that. ¿Qué tal, Dani? More, más, more, to paint more, Daniel, más, paint more. Ya sé que parece como un acrónimo, pero no, it's more. Okay, it's paint more dungeon thingies. And okay, now this green, let's see if I can make it lighter and bluer. Dice, tranquilo, mi inglés es malo. Bueno, pues more en este caso, queridos caballeros españoles, significa más. Básicamente tenéis dos opciones. Pinta más cosas de Dungeon Crawlers o pinta algo de Warhammer 40k, ¿ok? You have two options. Choose one. By the end of the stream, I'm gonna decide what I'm going to do tomorrow. And I'm gonna maybe give you a hint of what is the 40k thingy that I have here hidden. Okay, I was saying I was going to paint this green with, I'm gonna put some blue, and let's see what we get from there. ¿Dónde está mi azul? Azul, aquí, power blue. Alright, let's put just that small drop there, and with this we're gonna get a different shade of green, much more blue. It will look like Drakenhof nice shade, but if I water it down like this, okay, boom, what I'm gonna get is, see, that teal color, which I'm going to use for the pants here. Over here, there we are. This is very, very similar to, I think it's called croak green, or it's one of those colors that you can paint lizardmen with easily. A ver, I'm staining the boot here. I shouldn't have stained that, but I'm gonna come back to it. So you can paint lizardmen with this color, which is green with a little bit of blue. ¿Qué ejército de Warhammer Fantasy sueles llevar o es tu preferido? Oh wow, that's a good question. Okay, my favorite, okay, since forever is Vampire Counts, los Condes Vampiro. Cuando yo empecé a Warhammer, when I started Warhammer, I was like a super nerd of Castlevania. It was my first video game, so it was a no-brainer when I got my first White Dwarf number 1, by the way, in Spain. The one from, I think it's October, November 1993. I'm not really sure because I don't have it right here, but that was my first White Dwarf. The one that comes with the White Dwarf, you know? Reddish cover with the White Dwarf, the one from Hero Quest on its axe. So that's, yeah, the Romanian national team, yeah, the undead. So when I saw that White Dwarf, there were no undead on the White Dwarf. That was quite interesting. But at the end of the pages, you have the catalog where you can see the price per blister, price per box, and whatnot. And one of the things there said no muertos, and I said, whoa, what is that? No muertos? What are you talking about here? It's like mummies, skeletons, and zombies. And I was like, okay, I don't even know how they look, but this is gonna be my army. And lo and behold, that was my first army. I started buying some skeletons, second-hand. Many of my skeletons are actually second-hand. Poaching Hero Quest boxes. What else did I buy? I bought so many whites, so many Caballeros Negros, Tumularios, so many of them, because I love them. I love the concept of whites. And I also did, what else did I get? I got basically almost all the units, and I have a quite big army. After I played with it for a while, I decided to buy another one. Las Momias, Los Vampiros, yeah, I have many of those miniatures, the old school ones as well. I think there is a video, yeah, there is a video of me painting old school miniatures, mummies and whatnot. And after that, I got Empire, and because I had Vampire Counts, I said, I'm gonna paint them as if they are from Stirland. Now, for those of you who do not know the lore in Warhammer Fantasy, the Empire is several provinces. Like, we have Hawkland, Nuln, Stirland, I think is the name. What else? Talabek Land. There are a few ones. And each province has an elector count. Somebody that governs over it. And then when the emperor dies, or they just want to get rid of him, what they do is these elector counts plus the Grand Theogonist, plus the guy, the halfling from the Moot, which is basically Hobbiton in the world of Warhammer, they sit down and decide who's going to be the new emperor. They just have to, you know, it's a politics game. So they basically have to decide it, which is very similar to what happens in Malaysia, coming to think of it, because it's sultanates, and there is a sultan of each one of the different areas in Malaysia, and then they have to decide who's going to be there. So Stirland, it's a province that is comprised of two places, actually, because Stirland used to be a province on its own, and then there was Sylvania. And Sylvania, as you can hear by the name, is based basically on the Eastern European region of around here, Transylvania. Which, by the way, wasn't Romania until very recently, after the Treaty of Trianon, which was at the same time with the Treaty of Versailles. Romania had signed up to be part of the alliance against the Germans and the Austro-Hungarians, and they got that piece of land. But anyways, I digress as usual. So going back to the topic, Malasia, ¿hay dónde comprar o comunidad? there is community now. There wasn't much, but now we have several games workshops and stores where you can buy. You can find Warhammer almost anywhere. But because Sylvania was absorbed by Stirland after the Vampiric Wars, I decided to make an Stirland army. Stirland has these two colors, which, by the way, when we painted the other day the Witch Hunter, we ended up painting him as an Stirland Witch Hunter, which is yellow and green. Those are the traditional colors of that province. So I got a second-hand, very cheap Empire army, and I painted it as a Stirland. And that was the last army that I have been playing with last summer. I did a tournament in my village, and we played Warhammer, the Old World, and I played with my Stirland army. So that's my second Warhammer Fantasy army. Third one, Skaven. No, High Elves, sorry. Third one, High Elves. I bought them from a friend who didn't play anymore, so those were the next one. And then after that, Skaven. And then after that, what else? What else did I get after Skaven? I think I moved to the United States. I had 4 armies, and then I got, let me think, Wood Elves. Yeah, I have a Wood Elf army. And then after that, Orcs and Goblins, which I love. I had so much fun. That's my first army, Rushing the Wash. That was the first one that I actually started painting like this. And after that, I moved to Malaysia and started Chaos Warriors. I never played with them, but I have a big Singe army of Chaos Warriors. And now, I think that's it. I don't have any more armies. I have like a beginning of a Dark Elf army, but basically that's it. That's pretty much it. Miguel, Skaven se pronuncia como Skaven. Skaven. Skaven, ¿quieres decir? ¿En serio? Skaven. Scavenger. Pues tiene razón, pues posiblemente sí. Skaven como Scavenger. El Scavenger es como, no sé cómo se dice ahora mismo en español. Es una persona que básicamente, ¿cómo se dice Scavenger? Expoliador, alguien que se dedica a eso, a robar cosas que están medio abandonadas. Scavenger. Qué interesante, tú. Bueno, supongo, a ver, como en español, nosotros en español nos es difícil decir S al principio de una palabra sin ninguna vocal. Entonces diríamos Skaven. Pero en inglés esa E no aparece y la V sería fricativa. Skaven, Scavenger. Correcto. Joder, pues mira, no lo sabía yo. O sea que llevo diciendo todos estos años, all these years, I've been saying Skaven wrong when you should say it as Skaven. What the freak, man. Joder, I've been living in a lie. I was like, oh, I know how to say this and I'm absolutely wrong. Anyways, vamos a darle un Nazareth Yellow. And let's hit it with Nazareth Yellow on the Aketon, this armor. Because then I'm gonna use a little bit of brown to darken it, but I want that yellow base. The yellow is gonna look, I want him to look with mostly warm colors, with the exception of, as you will see, the blade and some of the metallic areas, and also the borders of the armor. So that is going to be the base for him. Warm colors, as if he's wearing the camo of spring. And it's also, you know, summer, the trees are green, everything feels nice again. It's a little bit hot here already, too hot for my liking, even though I should be used by now to the heat, because I live in Malaysia and Malaysia was hot all year round. But this winter here was brutal. I don't know. O sea que todos los dicen mal, lo dijo en un podcast. Bueno, yo es que alucino, tío. O sea, cada día aprendo una cosa nueva. Es flipante. I've been in this hobby, ¿cuántos años? Déjame pensar. Pues desde el 93, o sea que llevo... Su puta madre, llevo 33 años, tío. 33 years I've been doing this. And this is the first time I learned how to say Skaven. 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 Madre del amor hermoso. No creo que pueda cambiar. I don't think I'm gonna be able to change that easily. And when I do my voiceovers on the channel, well, you know what? I don't know if now you're putting me in a conundrum. Me estás metiendo un brete aquí, Porque how can I transition to saying it in a way that I feel that is so wrong, okay? So you've been seeing here since, well, 6th edition. Tú has estado desde sexta edición. What is your favorite army? ¿Cuál es tu ejército favorito? Orchi, a ver, cuéntame. ¿A qué le das? ¿Cuál es la niña de tus ojos? ¿Cuál es la niña de tus ojos? Mira, y aquí le voy a dar también. I'm gonna hit it with this as well here. Let's make him blonde. You'll see later. A ver. The secret ingredient is crime, as the meme says. It's gonna be criminal what we're gonna do here. Tuve que hacer altos elfos porque cuando yo empecé ya no existían. ¿Cómo que cuando yo empecé ya no existían? What do you mean? They didn't exist. High elves, pero si high elves son como un cornerstone del hobby. O sea, esos llevan ahí. They have been there since the beginning almost. High elves. 2002. Sí, había altos elfos, vamos, seguro. For sure. And they were quite good in 6th edition. If you brought silver helms, they were very good. And I remember a huge argument we had in a Spanish forum, Marcus Belli. I don't know if you know it. And I thought I knew quite, I was a little bit full of myself in there. And there was this guy who came and said, look, I went to a tournament and I kicked ass. And I kicked ass playing with high elves. And I kicked ass playing with high elves and just cavalry. And I was like, nah, man, that's impossible. What are you talking about? High elves, only cavalry? No freaking way. How are you gonna deal with, clashing with infantry? You need something that is gonna give you rank bonuses and is gonna give you all the things that allow you to actually sustain the charges of other cavalry. And he was absolutely right. He was using smaller units of 5, and I laughed at it, and I was so stupid. He was using small units of 5 silver helms, with nothing but lanzas de caballería, nada más. And me and some other people were saying, yeah, that's not gonna work. It is not working. And he was, no, man, I'm like winning tournaments, legit. And this is a stupid argument until I got my butt handed to me over and over by smaller units, hard punching units. Cavalry was quite good in 6th edition because if you guys know anything about Warhammer Fantasy back then, the first row, if you killed miniatures in the first row, they will not respond to the attacks. So if you had, imagine, a block of spearmen, well, spearmen will be attacking in 2 ranks, but if the cavalry will kill with all their attacks 5 and the horses might just kill 1 more if you got lucky, all of a sudden those 10 attacks that you will have in the first turn of combat, because you're charging as cavalry and they cannot respond because initiative doesn't matter when you were charging back then in 6th edition, then you have lost the ability to respond to a very well armored enemy with an armor save of 2+. And it didn't compute on me because I was thinking like static rank bonuses, banner, all those things. You have 3 ranks, and then you have numeric superiority, and then you have the banner, and these guys are coming without the banner. And I was counting, you will have +3 and the banner and the numeric superiority, la potencia de la unidad, unit no sé cómo se dice, I don't know the nomenclature of this in Warhammer Fantasy back then. But of course, if they kill the first rank, then you might be losing already one of those +1s to your unit strength. And then because they charge and because they get the numbers, they will offset your static ranks, your static bonuses with that. And you might, if you don't flee in that turn, well, that's okay. But if you flee, you're done. They will catch you. In Spain in particular, because we were measuring differently, we were using centimeters and the game was made for inches. For us, it will be something very, very, very funny because the cavalry will be chasing you with 8d6 centimeters and you will be fleeing with 5d6 centimeters, which is a very different thing altogether because infantry will be suffering quite a lot on running both after somebody on horse or in front of somebody on horse. I laughed at this. Little did I know that this guy was absolutely right. And then you will see the metas, in particular high elves, wood elves. Wood elves in particular were very good in 6th edition because of the gameplay that they brought, which is, you know, it was playing with... Let's do something. I'm gonna do an NMM, which was playing with this particular multiple small units, MSU. And I was coming from the perspective that no, you have to have big units with big static bonuses, because I was playing vampire counts. I mean, skeletons couldn't kill anything for their lives or unlives. And these guys were 100% correct. Yes, be nimble, be all over the place, choose your battles, and whenever you charge somewhere, you just destroy them. Ignore those big chunky units of skeletons or whatever that are just worth 200 points. Go for the big things. Kill the necromancer, kill the vampire, whoever is raising the dead. Rape the other army. So, ¿qué tal, Alejandro? ¿Cómo estás? So, I mean, I don't know how it is nowadays in other war games, but that particular way of playing worked decently well until 8th edition. In 8th edition, you will have the huge units and you will also have the huge spells, so it changed things quite a lot. And also, with 7th edition Warhammer Fantasy, they changed the rank bonus. It went from 4 soldiers in the front to a minimum of 5. So that changed a lot. 8th edition was also complete different paradigm on the gaming scene. So yeah, I played quite a lot of fantasy. I love playing fantasy. 40k, I never got into it. But I freaking love the look of 40k stuff. Like the old school, I really like. The new school, I don't know, the tanks are just too... They just feel too technological. I don't know if you know what I mean. The old ones, they felt like crap. Ya veo que usted está tan bien también. Bueno, pues procuramos estar bien, ¿no? We're trying to. Sleep, eat, go to the gym, repeat. And work, of course. Bueno. Vamos a ver. This thing. You see that stripe here, and in here, and in here. That's going to be red. And in order to make it more appealing, I'm finding the places where I need to do some extra stuff. Okay, this belt, I'm going to paint it with silver and gold. But I need to figure out how to make it work against the armor, because the armor is already Nazareth yellow. Hello MiniQuest, how are you doing, mate? Great to see you too. Yeah, I'm now streaming. I just got tired of editing videos and having one video every 2 months or 3 months. So now I'm just streaming because, you know, this guy makes such fantastic videos, guys. If you don't know his channel, MiniQuest64, he makes things about video games like you cannot believe. And his edition is so funny and so cool. You need to check his videos because he puts a lot of effort in them. And his thumbnails are way better than mine by a huge margin. His are legit. Mine are now AI because I don't know how to make thumbnails. Okay, I admit things. I have no freaking idea how to make thumbnails. As much as I try, I will never be able to make thumbnails. So I just gave up and I say, hey ChatGPT, these are my minis. Can you use my minis and just take a picture and make it nice? So go check his channel. His videos are fantastic, okay? Anytime, man, anytime. You need to recognize game. So you are game. A ver, let's see. Now, I said red. And after I do the red, I can decide what to do with the armor and that belt so it works. Vamos allá. Ok. Vamos allá. Vamos a ponerle aquí. These stripes are gonna be red. Why red? Because red is the opposite of green in the color wheel. And by being the opposite, we are playing on that Warhammer Fantasy nostalgia. We are giving it the oomph that I always look for in my miniatures. I don't paint grimdark. Grimdark has its place. I think it's mostly for display rather than playing. There are very beautiful armies out there all in grimdark, but I think they look nice under the right circumstances like lighting or within certain parameters that are more about, you know, showing them in Instagram or for display cases. For me, I always say this, I paint for the table. I want my players to recognize their miniatures at a glance. And having small details like this that break up the figure and they tell you, oh, there's the elf, you know, is the green guy with a little bit of red. Your eyes will tell immediately who he is. So that's why I do this. This and because Mike McVeigh, he's the GOAT. That's it. I always wanted to paint like Mike McVeigh, and if I get any close to the things that these guys were doing back then, I am happy as a pig in mud. Estoy contento como un cerdo en el barro. So, boom, there we go. We got some red. And now I'm gonna do something. This gem here is not gonna be exactly red, but we're gonna put already the base here so I can tell how it's gonna look. You'll see later. This is going to be a quick, fast paint job. So I want to give it a few details to have fun with it. This blade, I'm gonna make it look more magical than your usual blade. That's why I'm gonna go through an NMM, but it's going not to be exactly an NMM to look like metal. That's not the scope here. It's gonna look magical. So this is why we have that dark base, and we're gonna start from there. Okay, so far we have advanced quite a lot. So let me see what we can do with this belt, this typical elf belt armor. Vamos allá. Today is going to go straight to this one, Rumfang Steel. I see you guys want more dungeon stuff. Interesting. Yeah, well, I've been painting dungeon stuff for a while, so it goes without any surprises that most of you will choose that. If you were to recommend any board game right now, like you have a friend that says, hey, I want to get into RPGs or board games or something like that, which one should I buy? To somebody that is brand new, and you don't, you know, this is the typical guy who's smart, but probably you don't want them to drown on their first game and say, what the heck is even going on? You know, like those huge war games that they play for, I don't know, the Normandy or something like that, World War II, with all those small tokens. What would you get somebody to buy to start playing games? I have to leave you, parent affairs. Keep doing your great job. Bye bye. Ven, Alejandro, cuídate. Un beso para ti y para tu familia. Y que no sea nada lo que pasa con el niño o la niña. Creo que tenías una niña, si no me equivoco. Así que no sea nada, que sea leve. Gracias, gracias. So what would you guys recommend to somebody that wants to get into not exactly this hobby, but maybe something similar to this hobby, okay? Board games, role-playing games, something that I say, you know what, I like fantasy and I'm quite intrigued about it. What game would you get? Something that is like fantasy, sci-fi, whatever. What would you get them to buy? Me, myself, I think... let me think. Something that is not difficult and it looks cool on the table. Well, obviously, if they like high fantasy and they like the feel of Dungeons and Dragons without having to read 3 rule books and having somebody to volunteer to be, you know, the master of all the rules and whatnot, I would probably send them to Hero Quest. I always go back to that. I will probably say, look, buddy, let's play it safe here, and go to Amazon or go to your bookstore, the one that you have nearby your house, and find this game and just play it. And if you feel like it, you might as well paint the miniatures. So that's one. Hero Quest is always the answer for noobs. But I wish Truo was here, because Truo will have so many ideas, because he has so many games. Orchi says Warhammer Quest. I don't think Warhammer Quest is a good answer here. And let me explain why. The new one maybe, but you know why I'm saying Hero Quest. Hero Quest, you just open it, the miniatures are built, the booklet is this thick, there's nothing in it, and it's just open it, and in 15-20 minutes, if you read it, you figure it out. It's such a easy experience. Warhammer Quest is the one that you tell your friend, hey, if you go and buy this game, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Which one? Are we talking about the old one? Well, good luck with that. You're gonna spend probably north of 400 euros getting a copy, which is on its own is just a lot of work, just finding a decent copy. There we go. It's finding a decent copy. But if you buy the new one, you also need to build the miniatures, which are very easy though, but you still need to build the miniatures. And then I'm not sure if it's the best experience gaming wise. So no sé. What about undergrounds, like these ones from these small skirmish games, like from Age of Sigmar? Have you guys tried them? Do they work? Are they worth the money? I don't know. Is another slippery slope where you're gonna start buying a lot of miniatures and your friend might say, wow, this is way bigger than I wanted it to be. I don't know. Wait, let me see this pommel. Oh, Lisa came to visit. Hello, Lisa. Meow, meow. What are you doing? She's checking. She's making sure that I'm painting. Wanna say hello to the people? Come. There we go. Oh, hola. Y adios. Go. Lisa. This is a Malaysian cat, by the way. I think I told you guys already. She has 2 passports, a Malaysian passport and a European passport. And yeah, she's my favorite thing when I come back home is this girl is right there at the door saying hello to me, always, without failure. Ok, bueno, ya tenemos todos los colores base, with the exception of the flesh. That's the one that I'm missing here. And we can start working on that as well. So, because he's a human or elf or something like that, we can go safely to vivid flesh. A ver cómo está la cosa. Miau, miau. Ok, don't get all excited now. Relájate, Lisa, por favor, que estamos en directo. We are live, okay, so. Ok, vamos allá. Let's focus on there. Let's focus on there. This is a nice color. Looks, I don't know, like a red, like a watermelon red inside a watermelon. It's such a nice color. Speaking of which, watermelons originally were not palatable. They were a white fruit that didn't have much flavor. But they were used to cross the desert because they had quite a lot of water, and of course, if you can bring something that has a lot of water inside, it's very easy to go across the desert with them. And then they started like choosing the best ones, the most tasty ones, and the ones that were more palatable. And we ended up having a fruit that tastes amazing and is full of water. The more you know. Things that you pick up by looking at somebody painting miniatures. Ta-da! I need to stop watching shorts. Things I pick up all the time. Useless knowledge that you will never have to mention ever again. But me, first chance I get. Oh, did you know? Did you know that my kids sometimes roll their eyes, and sometimes they also like look at me and say, "Mr. Miguel, how do you know so much stuff?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you want to go that way, my man." I just realized that there is another gem here. Okay, let's do that. And another one here, obviously. Bueno, vamos a ver. Okay, here starts. Now is the party time. It's party time. Okay. Vamos a coger un poco de blanco. Let's get some, not white, ice yellow. Ice yellow. And we're gonna do the highlights. Aquí está, my ice yellow. And we're gonna go here and start doing the craziest of highlights. Okay, so edge highlights galore. And I was saying yesterday, no, I should make like a freehand on this cape. I'm not sure. I like the idea that he's just an explorer, so he's not wearing anything fancy. We'll see. Because then what happens if you give this character to somebody in the table, if he's way too cool, you know, if he has details, and the others are gonna say, "Hey, man, why did you paint that so well, and why is mine not painted that cool?" So you get jealousy in the table. And it has very, very evident, huge mold lines, no, print lines here. So we need to break that without mercy. Without mercy. Vamos allá. Sin piedad. Sin piedad. Otherwise it's gonna look weird. A ver aquí. Let's get. This is going to be the place where the light is gonna be reflecting. So I'm gonna go through each one of these and I'm gonna give it a huge highlight like that. Like that. Okay, and here this is gonna go a little bit faint. And like this, like this, like that. Y aquí un poco más. Most votes, once again, quite interesting. Voting for dungeon stuff. Fine by me. I have plenty of dungeon stuff. I have what is that? 4, 5, 6 more adventurers. I have a few acolytes or something like that. That they might be zealots or flagellants. They look like flagellants. I have a few more minis here and there, so fine by me. Or I can start painting dungeon sections as well, whatever you guys prefer. Okay, here a little bit, and here I don't want to go overboard, so I need to make sure that I just highlight the area that I want it to be highlighted, nothing else, which is this I'm gonna keep dark, maybe put some stitches there, nothing else. Okay, strident highlights, very, very notorious. We're gonna glaze now. This is my life. Highlight big, glaze big. Also here and here I'm going to just highlight like that everything. The hand here needs to be highlighted as well because there was a stain, a green stain on it, so that needs to be properly covered. Have you guys played Vermintide, the video game, the one with the 4 adventurers in, you know, in the Warhammer world at the end times, where they have to fight all the Skaven? Skaven was one of my favorite games. Nowadays I don't play that much. I play sometimes Battlefield, but that's basically it. I call it a day. But Vermintide is such a cool game. It encapsulates what Warhammer Quest will be in a video game. Very well done by Fat Shark. You can tell when people know their lore and they have actually researched the place that they're gonna depict in the game. Very, very cool stuff. It looks the way the Warhammer world actually looks. I don't think there is any other fantasy game as of now that looks and feels the way the Vermintide 1 or 2 feel. Very cool stuff. And man, if you play, Daniel, you need to play it. You need to play it. If you ever want to get into it, let me know. I will reinstall it and I can play it with you. It is super cool. It's, I don't know how to define, because I'm not very savvy about video games styles and whatnot, but I can tell you it's like a first-person shooter, Diablo. That kind of type of game. First-person shooter Diablo, with procedural AI enemies like the Left 4 Dead. So the computer says, okay, now I'm gonna screw you up. Whenever you feel like a little bit safe, like, okay, I got a potion, I can heal, I can get ready for the next wave of enemies. No. The game is gonna make you sweat if you play in nightmare mode or something like that. It's just too much. So, and you have to be very good at blocking and timing your attacks perfectly. Otherwise, you're gonna get screwed really, really fast. I played quite a lot of Vermintide in my day. I probably don't know how to play it anymore, because the meta probably has evolved and there is always new things that they were putting in it. But very cool game, by the way. So, and it goes on offer every now and then on Steam. So if you get a chance to buy it, I think there is still quite a solid community playing. So worth trying. And I remember during the pandemic was super fun for that. All the other things I didn't like, but the fact that I could play with my friends in Spain at night, online, something so it was so much fun playing with Trubo and Alvaro and all these friends of mine. We will go get into a server and the four of us playing together, just kicking rats' ass. It was super fun. Super fun. And 100% recommended game if you have some friends to play with. 100%. If you don't have friends to play with, well, it's just not the same thing. But for parties of friends, that's just too cool, man. Okay. Let's see what we do with the sword. Yes, first of all, edge highlights. That's the first part. Then I'm gonna do this. Right here is where I'm gonna get that, and a little bit here. Okay. Then the edge here. And then here we're gonna offset this highlight and just go in here, in between the two highlights and in here. Let's see if we can pull off a nice NMM on this thing. A little bit more in the center, a little bit more on the center, and a little bit more on the center here. Okay. This is just the beginning. This is what is telling me where we're gonna put the other stuff. But first, I'm gonna go back to my usual highlights. I just saw it there and say, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And go back to highlighting here for the boots. And then we're gonna go to the other one. I don't know if you guys saw, I posted last night the video from beneath the flagstones. Holy moly, man. His setup, like LED dungeon, LED lights in the dungeon, huge dungeon, huge dungeon with everything painted. It looks, you know, it looks like freaking. Probably cannot say the word. I don't want to get, you know, cancel or whatever by YouTube. But it looks like PORN for nerds. It's, what the heck, the dedication that some of us, not me, but some of us, okay, have for this hobby, and the lengths that some people go to, you know, make their dreams come true when it comes to this hobby. It's just too much. Absolutely fantastic setup, beautiful table, and he filmed it and it looks just so cool. It's one of those things that if you ever get the chance to play at someone's table and you go to the house and it looks like that, you better bring some beers. You better bring the beers and the pizza and everything, because that guy deserves every snack and every beer that you can buy for him, because he's giving you the experience of a lifetime just by sitting at that table. Madre mia. Proper stuff. So I posted it last night on my you can see it on the feed on the channel. Just take a look at it. It's not a long video. It's like 3 minutes or 4 minutes long. Absolutely fantastic stuff. That's the kind of people that really humbles me when I see it, and I just love it. I don't envy that people. I strive to be like them. It's a different type of thing, you know? Envy is when you want something without the effort. And when you are admiring somebody, you say, hey, that's pretty cool. I know it took you a lot of time, and I think that I wanted to. I just don't know if I have the time to do it. But if I could, and if I ever want to, I'm gonna look up to you and just try. Fantastic. Very cool stuff. Okay, here we go. We're getting there already. I'm feeling it. It's that moment where you are starting to feel the curve going down. This is always the most strenuous part of the paint job, is doing these small highlights. But because I only use one color, okay, I'm cheating here, and that's my trick. My trick is using this color only to do the highlights, and then the glazes are gonna do all the magic tricks that I want them to do. Haha, all of them. And I'm happy that I'm streaming this, because even if I explain it in a video, you might be tempted to consider that I'm not telling you the truth, but it is the truth, my dear friends. This is how I paint. It's a lot of contrast, and then some ice yellow, and then some glazing, and voila, done and dusted. Vale, vamos a ver. I think I need un poquito más aquí, a little bit more here, and here we're gonna do something after this on this pommel that I want to be a jewel, and also here. Let me see, let me remember, how did it go? It was darker, yes. Okay, so here at the bottom, I need to think about the way gems are painted sometimes. And here, and of course the side of the blade, Miguel, don't forget. Okay, so once again we're gonna do that, edge highlights. Let me see where this went through. We put it here, and then over here, and then un poquito aquí. And then after I know that, these are gonna be here. Okay, let me show that, because this is an interesting part of the process. And the other one is here. And here we're gonna do the, carefully here, the edge. And here we're gonna do this. Cha cha cha. And in between. Okay. This one is too watery right now, but it can work. It doesn't matter. Vale. Am I forgetting any highlights here? Un poquito aquí, un poquito acá. Tarara. Y aquí. Okay. Vale. Well, we have sketched everything. I have a good feeling about this mini, by the way. I like the dynamic of the miniature and everything. Okay, glaze contrast paints are new to me. Bueno, let's get to business now. All my highlights are basically done. Yeah, so I painted the base color, and now here comes the magic. So let's decide where to start from. I'm going to start from the armor, because that's the easiest gain right now. I know that I just need a brown to do this armor. It's yellowish, but now it's gonna get muted down with a wash. Well, a wash not, a glaze. And I'm going to use the ever trusty Agrax Earthshade. Siempre, always faithful, this one. With this, I'm going to mute it down and combine both the highlights and the undertone that we got with the previous yellow, thus making it look like a more natural transition. That's the idea. Here we go. It's a quick win, as I said. Brown is usually very easy to deal with. Careful so I don't stain around, because I want that to stay more or less true to it. And here we go over here. This is the most fun part of the painting, by far. By a huge margin. This is where you can have fun, because it's when the magic starts to happen. Okay, that's the brown armor. See? We muted it down. When it dries, it's gonna be matte, and those highlights are gonna go the way that it should be. One done. Next one, that red area in the armor. If I paint it again red, it's not gonna give me the thing I want to get. So what I'm gonna use is Space Magenta. Now I told you guys, I'm just sticking to the starter set colors, okay, and a few ones that I got from Citadel, because as I said in the other stream, the best way to become creative is giving yourself limitations. So these areas that are red now are red, but also have these highlights that I'm gonna color up with Space Magenta, and what we're gonna get is this nice burgundy color. The red is gonna give it depth, the ice yellow is gonna give it the highlight, and this glaze is gonna give it the tonality that I was looking for. Can you do it with only one coat? Arguably, in some cases, yes. But because I made the highlight so evident, I can play with the saturation by moving my brush and getting maybe rid of some of it, like so. See? So I can keep the volume there, and I just put it inside. Okay, here we go. The same here for this jewel on the pommel. Just want a little bit of that to show like that. And instead of being an orangish red, now it becomes a ruby red, like that. Vale. I'm gonna use a little bit of this for the lips to give it more life in the face and also in the eyes, which we're gonna come back to later. But it's just to give it more life, you know, in the face. That area around the nose, let's just clean a little bit, and here in the cheek. Vale. Okay. Good. Now, another quick win is going to be painting the boots and the boots and these things with Drakenhof Nightshade. Siempre, Drakenhof Nightshade has to be in everybody's collection. I want people to get this paint. And you know what is gonna happen after we get the paint? Games Workshop changes the formulation again, or just says, you know what, nobody's using it, and then they just decide to quit altogether making it. Let's go. Let's go. I also am gonna use it for this side of the cape. Okay, and a little bit here. Let's go. Look at the difference between this side with Drakenhof Nightshade, which, by the way, when it's gonna dry, absolutely, these highlights are gonna look much more bluish, and before. See? Huge difference. Let's do that. No fear, because this is quite translucent. It's a very good filter, so I just can put a lot of it and not be afraid of it like overwhelming anything. Also here, this cape, let's shade it up a little bit. Vale. This place here, where I didn't get enough paint before, and here. And because I'm gonna paint them in my usual flagstone theme, always, since I'm doing this step, I go and paint the base with the base color that is gonna be Drakenhof Nightshade. It's such a quick win with this paint, always. Okay. Underside of this, also some Drakenhof Nightshade. It's gonna be in the recesses. And also in this curl over here. Focus on it, please. A ver, there we go. Okay. Let's get it rolling there and here. Vale. Vale. Okay. See how it's starting to look? Okay, then we're gonna touch up those things. And also here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and here, these two. Vale, okay. Well, big cape, big green areas, like this one and this one. And here, I still have some green left over from the previous wash. This one. This is the one that I used before. But what I want to do is make it a little bit more yellow. My yellow, unfortunately, has a lot of red. This one. So I need to be very careful of what is going to happen now, because my experiment might not work. If I had a lighter yellow, something that didn't have any white, sorry, any red whatsoever, it will work. But here, as you can see, I'm getting somewhat a more camo green, but that's okay, because I'm gonna water it down, and I need a consistency like this. And this is where I'm going to glaze this thing. So those highlights, I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna make them less strident by giving us very light glaze with very watered down wash on top of it. They are still there, but now they are not ice yellow anymore. They have a filter on top, so they're gonna become green. The green that I was looking for, actually. Same wise here and in here. But as I said, it needs to be slightly watered down so it works. And here. Okay. And also, obviously, on the hood. Notice I'm leaving that edge with that. Do you usually do all of your highlights before the wash, or are there times you do some after? You will see the last highlights that I'm gonna do are gonna be with pure white, and those ones are just the tip. Okay, they are small. It's a dot white light. Dot white light, a dot highlight, and those are the ones in certain areas where I want that little extra oomph of volume. I have some leftover turquoise from before, and this one I'm also gonna water it down very slightly, and I'm gonna use it here. Here and here. There we go. Vale. And here. This works well because even though this green is different to this green, the highlights have been approximated. They look similar now. Your eye is still telling you those are two different greens, but it's not becoming too in your face because the highlights are somewhat unified now. The filter works. See? Un poco aquí, a little bit there. Okay, this guy is getting places now. We are getting closer to what I wanted it to look like. How does it look like so far? Well, it needs to dry, first of all, so we don't see those unappealing shiny areas, but we're getting places. Okay? Now, let's make the metallics have more depth. I have two options here. If I paint them with Agrax Earthshade, they're gonna look dirty, which is not the look that I'm looking for in an elf. What I should do is get a shade that is dark. It's gonna make those areas a little bit darker. So I'm gonna put some black right here. Wash, dark wash, okay? This one. So I'm gonna put some black. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a little bit of magical contrast. And I'm thinking like an elven steel. An elven steel, I always imagine it portrayed bluish. Bluish. But I'm gonna use some of the turquoise that I got before. I'm mixing it with my black right here, and I get this kind of color. Now, that is too strong there, but as soon as I wet it down a little bit more, and then I'm gonna move it around, I'm gonna get this color, which just fits perfectly with the theme that I'm trying to do here, which is an elf, a wood elf, who's wearing armor made of steel that is still able to mimetize with the forest. So it's becoming a greenish kind of steel. I hope you guys can see it well with the camera. There is like a small defect here, but well, no wonder. Sometimes I just don't clean right. Aha, I just noticed something. There is a small leather belt there. No problem, I can go back to it and make it look like leather. But with this, we are getting that greenish armor on him. So all of it is tying together now into the same idea. It's an elf with green clothes and the right amount of contrast, in my opinion, with the warm colors from the armor, which are this red and this dark yellow, almost brown. Well, brown. Here I saw that I missed something. I'm gonna just touch it up. All right, vale. Then I need to remember to do that belt over there. Bueno. So we are somewhere already that I'm liking to be. Let me just do some of these on these belt buckles. So we have a unified color. Just touching up here. And this is giving me an idea. Let's see if I can pull it off. Because as I said before, I want a few details that look, you know, more special. Because it's not a difficult miniature. So how about we put like something like this. Let's see if I can pull it off. With the same paint that I used until now, yes? Like a serpentine type of thing, which I'm gonna add some thorns and some small details. Very subtle, not overboard, but still some extra detail for the miniature. I mean, if it's in the palette, why not, right? The most difficult part here is just getting into those small crevices. Okay, here we are. Let me just turn it around so I have a better chance of getting what I wanted to get. This went a little bit too thick, but it's almost hidden, so it's not a big deal. Okay, vale. And since we are at it, I would like to have this area between the hood and the cape a little bit darkened. So I need to be careful now to just go in there and create that distinctive line in between the areas. Vale, okay, vale, it's working. I think it's working. Okay, bueno. Let's do other details. First of all, the handle of the sword, we're gonna use this green. I like this green. It's dark and it still gives me the opportunity to go back to it. Well, it's not a green, it's kind of like a dark, very dark thing, but it's gonna work no matter what. Okay, and the blade is the one that is gonna push that paint job a little bit further. The blade and the gems, I think, are gonna be the ones doing that for me. Let's give it a little bit of color here. Now, yellow, pure yellow this time, which is an orangish hue. We're gonna get some of it. You see, this is the color that it will get. Just a little bit of water, because I don't want to go overboard with it. And put it on the hair. So we get these highlights tying in with the shade. Okay. Vale. Tap, 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 tap. So I can get rid of the top one. And in here. Fine. Vale, vale. I'm just looking around. And now, what color should the blade be? Why? Because I wanted to contrast against the green, and we already have a base for, you see, that dark blue, which is ultramarine blue. I'm going to do something. First of all, let me retouch the area that I say that there is a belt there, so I don't forget. Okay. Some ultramarine blue is gonna go here. I think you've seen quite a lot of my face already, so I'm gonna change. Where is my mouse? Ah, here. I'm gonna change the view to. Hello, beneath the flagstones. How are you doing, man? I was talking about your video before and your setup, and I was quite envious about it. Well, not envious, but admiring it. So, okay, as I was saying, you guys saw my face plenty, so let's get a little bit more close, yeah? I said I got this small belt here that I didn't notice before. So I'm gonna paint the leather inside the belt buckle and the leather in front of the belt buckle and the leather behind the belt buckle. Okay, and after that we're gonna come back to it. And now the fair weatherman with he also has a nice YouTube channel, guys. There's a lot of YouTubers here. Thank you. I was telling I thought it was a female, but yeah, I'm not going to Thailand anytime soon, just in case, because my eye for femininity is not working, is it? So let's do pure white. All right, pure white now. This is going to be a few things now. First things first. One, let's get it consistent with the approach that we want. This is it. Solid, not translucent, but thin enough that I can work with it for what I want. So I need my brush to be super sharp. And I'm going to do a very subtle edge highlight in these areas. And as you notice, I'm doing the edges only. Focus, you freaking camera. Let's go. Go away. Let's see if it can focus on that. I'm doing both sides of the cloth here, only at the bottom, because that way it's gonna create this nice highlight that is creating the volume for me. It's just a little bit. Very careful with this highlight, because if you overdo it, it destroys everything. You will desaturate the whole miniature, and you don't want that. Just a little bit. Notice how I'm following this line, yes? Un poco aquí, which means, by the way, a little bit in Spanish, a little bit here. Un poco aquí, 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 y un poco aquí. So it goes like the same line. It's just a little bit. Same goes for the other side. I'm gonna go this way. So just a little bit here, both sides. Muy poco. Very little, okay? Very little. If I overdo it, it's gonna destroy it. Very little, very subtle thing. There we go. Now, same thing in other areas. Paint in the consistency I want it. Hands, no, I like it as it is and I don't want to screw it up. But the jewel, definitely we need to do something here. We're gonna retouch later with some glazing here. Okay, here we go. Very subtle here again. This sleeve, very subtle again. Your brain is going to create the idea that these lines go through the whole edge. You just need to be consistent in where you're putting them. A little, very little here, more so in this cape because it has a warm color. If I put too much white, it's going to desaturate it way too much and it's gonna look not warm anymore. White is a dangerous color. That's why ice yellow is such a great color for highlights. It keeps vibrancy there. I think it's vibrancy the word that I'm looking for. I'm not really sure. Somebody else more savvy is gonna tell me no, that's not the word. But anyways, here very subtle, and here as well. This is the last highlight. There is nothing else you can do further than white. Okay, here I'm just looking at the edges that I want to be more noticeable. It's difficult to explain this. Okay, it's trial and error sometimes, but that's also a lie. Is maybe I don't know. I'm not good at explaining where I put highlights, but more or less it's like I'm choosing a line that I assume is where the light will be pushing, and I'm just putting it all there. See, this type of line here, And then I'm just gonna add a little bit here, in here, in here, and in here. All right. I'm holding my breath quite a lot now. You probably notice that I'm not speaking as much, which is probably a nice welcome change. In here and in here. And of course, this is one of the places that I already knew before I even started painting the miniature that will have a strong highlight, like this one. I'm gonna do it also on here. How does it look like? Is it good? Saturation, probably. Yeah, probably. I'm not really sure right now what is vibrancy. I need to check my notes. Vibrancy, I think, is how strong or lively is a color, but I'm not really sure right now. Because saturation is the difference between black and white. So a lot of black is saturated, a lot of white is desaturation. So I'm desaturating, but I want to keep the color being, you know, green, not becoming something that is not this green, is too washed out. Okay, I think I'm not gonna push it anymore. Maybe here in this edge a little bit, and we're gonna keep it like that so we don't screw it up. Vale. The sword is gonna be very cool. It's gonna be such a fun thing to paint. NMM or any effects like that, if you paint with thank you. If you paint with, yeah, Bob Ross is a little bit way too much for me. I'm not that good. I wish that guy was something, eh? And I don't know if you guys know the story about his hair, but he went to a hairdresser, and there was like an accident or something like that happened, and he just kept it. He just kept that hair or something like that because it just became his trademark. Oh my god, welcome! You're a new member, I just noticed last night. And you need to come into the Discord server where we talk about things. We don't talk that much, but there are there's a small bunch of people. I need to send it to you. I think I'm gonna put a reminder for members only on YouTube. So please make sure that you check later, okay? Make sure that you check later. Thank you for the interaction. So as I was saying, the blade, anything that is like this, energy swords and things like that. Let me just touch up whilst I'm talking here. If you paint with glazes and washes, it is very fun and very easy to do. Because what we're doing now, okay, this is first of all is ¿cómo se llama? Ultramarine blue. And then ice yellow highlights. And now I'm gonna give it a last highlight in the in-betweens here, okay, with pure white. We're gonna go through the edge. Notice that I'm putting just a little bit of it in between those. So it's an alternating pattern. The blade goes sharp in here, and then what happens is that you have this dark, and dark. And here we are doing it in the opposite areas. If this is dark, this is gonna be light. If this is dark, this is gonna be light, and vice versa. Okay, does it make sense? I guess so, because it's very evident. So after you build a dark base and the highlights, then it's just, okay, so what color do I want this blade to be? And I'm gonna show you right now, okay? And that's one of the things that I was waiting for at the end just to do. Let me just get these highlights here. Once again, I'm painting my finger to get the right consistency. I like cleaning my brush or sharpening my brush on my finger because I get a lot of information on my skin about how the paint is. Is it wet? Is it wet enough? Does it need a little bit more water? So that's why I end up always with a finger like that. And I remember it was one of those things that I said, why are people doing that? That feels so stupid. I was stupid thinking that I knew better than people that have been painting for many, many years. If somebody does this and they do it consistently, there is a reason for that. The information you get from your skin just by doing this, see, boom, I see through my skin that's not the color I want, and it also is telling me it's too it's just not not good enough. It's too wet. This is more or less what I want it to be. So I can tell. And it sharpens the brush very well. Much better than a napkin, because a napkin is gonna get all the moist out of the brush and leave you with very chalky paint. So that's why I do that. Okay, now this thing is ready. And what color am I gonna choose? Guys, take a guess. Take a guess, my dear friends. What color do you think should somebody painting a green elf put on a magical blade? Let's see. Andrew, yeah, I remember you. You were one of my students. I think you were Miss Maria's student when we were in Malaysia. Yeah, Miss Maria is saying, yeah. Andrew, how are you doing, man? Ni hao ma? How are you? Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do... Yes, Miss Maria, I'm good. Okay, he's saying he's good, Maria. What are you studying now, man? Where are you? Singapore, Malaysia? This is a small world. It's funny. A ver. Look, guys. Malaysia still. Good. Okay. What are you? Are you studying on uni now? I think you already graduated, or are you doing A levels? No, it's not Drakenhof Nightshade. No. I'm gonna show you the trick right now, okay? What are you studying, Andrew? I'm going through a tangent here, but okay. Vamos allá. Whilst I do this, look. Ta-ta. Okay. I have already, yes, the green. The opposite will be red, but I already have a red. But I know that green works quite well as well in this area. Okay, it works quite well. Now I have my jewels that are gonna be orange and red, but I want to push it a little bit towards this side. I want to go purpley. This one. Is it gonna work? Well, you see, I don't know if you notice, but you see the triad, it's 1, 2, and 3. The armor is gonna be this color, okay? Most of the clothing is this color, so I need something that is this color. And that's the theory behind that. He's studying his diploma and then he's going to law, Maria. So Miss Maria is like, interesting, okay. Very nice seeing you kids here. It's so nice to contact, get in touch with former students. Maria, chases? Miss Maria is sending you regards. So now let's get back to painting, huh? Because otherwise they're gonna get nostalgic. Alright, a ver, let me show you my face. Because why not? A ver, boom, here I am. Okay. Hello, Andrew. Okay, now I made this purple, okay? It has to be subtle now. And it has to look translucent. And let's see if the magic works here. Let's see if it works here. Very subtle, because I need to clean up in those areas where I want to show those white highlights. We're still gonna have to do a last highlight in white to come up with the vibrancy that I want. Vibrancy again. The contrast, the colors changing. There we go. Okay, bam. Let's push it. A ver, now I'm gonna use a little bit more detail brush. Let's go in the betweens here. And there we are. Vale, okay. The familiar face, yeah, I didn't change that much, did I? Just a little bit older and more white hair in my head. So we'll get there eventually. Okay. Vale. And also this gem, I need to give it some darker here. Okay, now whilst this is drying, I'm gonna do the eyes. And there is a mistake in this eye. There is like a small cast mistake, but we can fix that with a little bit of love and magic, okay? So I'm gonna get my black paint. Where is it? Black, but this is not the black paint. I want solid black. Eyes are nerve-wracking. Some people do them first. The first thing that they paint on a miniature is the face and the eyes, and then they start painting everything else. It's like they want to screw up as soon as possible and then fix it before they do all the paint job. I'm not. I'm a masochist. I just don't mind making mistakes like that. So, a ver, let me just get zoom, like properly zoom. Where is my zoom tab? Here. There we are. Alright. Vamos a hacer el signo de la cruz. And let's go. Un poquito de negro aquí. Okay. The paint consistency also has to be right here. There we are. And now I need to turn it because otherwise I cannot move the brush. I put it in the center of the face and then I pull from there. Because brushes don't work by pushing. I don't know if you notice. Vibrancy is the quality of being bright and strong, says the dictionary. I'm not vibrant. Neither bright, neither strong. So I guess it doesn't. It's not applicable to me. Okay, now I'm gonna get some white. Notice how much paint I have in my brush. I don't want that much paint. So I'm gonna get it to the point where I want it to be. Sharp, sharp, okay? And now, same, once again. Inside that black line, I'm going to put this white line. And this part is un poco pizdiet because it has that cast fail. But, okay. It's almost like he has the eye already painted, but I don't want that. I want to paint my own eye, so... Okay, there. But I can work with that. And since I have my paint in the brush, now we're gonna do the edge highlight here. Getting back to white. Merci, Nandri, for the clarification. Okay, here we are. Yes, here we are in here in this one, and this is the one that is nerve-wracking because the angle is not sufficient for me to use the belly of the brush. I need to actually use the tip and draw it. So let's get the consistency right, and I need to go from here in one go. Okay. Okay, that didn't go bad. And now here, yes, here I can cheat. I can use the belly a little bit more. All right. How does it look like? Let's get to the gems. All right. Not bad. Let's highlight the belt buckle here. This one I'm not gonna go back, so I need to do it fine and right. Oof, okay, and now the other gems. Vamos allá. One dot here, one highlight here, that then I need to make sure I do it right, and here and here. That one needs to be glazed at the bottom. Okay, and the other side of the blade, although it's not very evident when you look at the miniature because this is kind of hidden, but still, sometimes I paint things because I know they are there, not because anybody's gonna see them. And that reminds me of a quote I think it was the Chronicles of Belgarath. I don't know if you guys read that book. I think it's David Eddings, the author, and he said there was this character who was a smith, and at one moment he was fixing a cart or something like that, and I think the protagonist told him, "Why are you fixing that side that nobody ever is gonna be checking?" And he said, "Because I know it's there." And that stuck to me. That's one of the things that stick to me. It's one of those things that if you love what you do, sometimes you just do things for the sake of, I know it's there, and it pisses me off if it's not right. Nobody else needs to know. It's just my thing here. So I know it's there. That's enough. Well, okay. Where is the miniature from? No tengo ni idea. I know who sent it to me. I know that Gabriel from Magic Dice Manufacturing, as I've been saying all these days, he sent me a care package, and this is one of the minis that came within it. And when I was doing the poll yesterday, I thought it was a female, but obviously this dude is no female. Now we know. It just took me to sit down and paint to realize that. Okay, and both of his eyes are more or less looking at the same place, although the one in the left is huge. Holy moly, it's very big. It's not what I want it to be, but you know what, I'm not gonna touch it because I know I'm gonna screw it. It's good enough for a 28mm thingy. Okay, almost done. The only thing that I missed in this miniature is a small glazing in these gems. Just a small glazing. So I'm gonna get that purple because it glazes very well with red, okay? And I'm just gonna glaze the corner, the bottom corner here. Just a tad. Please don't do too much. Don't do too much. And here, just to shade that further. Un poco aquí y un poco aquí. And let me just do a little bit more here and a little bit more here and here, just to fix that NMM here a little bit. Okay, and I think we can basically go to the base now, because this guy is more or less done. All right, simple tabletop paint job in an hour and something. This guy is ready to be playing Dungeons and Dragons or any dungeon crawler. All right, whilst I finish it, I see people wants to be painting more dungeon crawler stuff. What would you guys want? Let me know in the chat, in the sense that I can give you several options. Okay, I don't want to overwhelm you, but do you want me to paint? Okay, let me think. What things do I have here? I have a mummy, I have an acolyte, kind of evil wizard. I have a nice, okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring 3 miniatures and then you guys check it, okay? And then I get back to painting the base. So we more or less have an idea of what is going to be painted tomorrow. Yes, let me just get my paints, the ones that I need for the base. Okay, so I'm ready for it. And change the camera to the view with close-up painting so we can see the minis that I'm going to be bringing. Okay, let's see. Some exciting stuff. Alright, let me see. This guy, or this guy. Okay, yeah, a few options. Yes. Alright, so I have number 1, Moonface. It has an Executioner's Blade. And I can tell you it's an Executioner's Blade because it's missing the tip and it was the usual blade that it was used, I think, in the Holy Roman Empire in Germany to kill people that have done a bad deed. Okay, you can find executioner blades online so you can see how they look like. Huge double-handed sword, interesting clothes. He looks like a chaos wizard, acolyte, something cool like that. I really like the vibe that this guy's having. I see this painted in yellow, very bright yellow, giving some highlights to the yellow, and then having something like burgundy and purple all over the place to make it look like a chaos wizard that has a lot of money to spend on, you know, risks. Boom, number one. Number two, quite the opposite. A warrior priest, somebody that is like, okay, give me a reason to stab you. He is very cool, like bald head. He has a huge glaive, morning star. He has this thing which is not armor, is part of the clothes here, and he has a small shield that I can paint with some provincial colors. Overall, probably painted in mute tones with some details in color. All right, and option 3, an elf wizard. I think it's an elf. It could be basically anything, but look at those boots. Look at those, man. Look at those boots. Or shoes. I'm not really sure what they are. They look like boots, and it has like a small thing on top, which I can paint metallic. And he has a good, you know, a good weapon by kicking somebody. OSL effect on this for sure, with some glue or something like that. And very nice surfaces to paint, like the one that I just painted right now. So, in your opinion, gentlemen, maybe ladies, which one would you like to be seeing tomorrow painted on the channel? Let's call them, I don't know, elf wizard, moonface, and the priest or zealot, or whatever you want to call this guy. There you go. Right, in the meantime, whatever you would, which one? Oh, I see, moonface. I knew moonface was going to be popular, and I'm gonna do the base of this guy in the meantime. So go ahead, let's paint the flagstones. Very quick, sketching them out. This was quite fun to paint, this miniature. I like when miniatures are not complicated. They have big surfaces, you can do nice edge highlights, and you always have the choice of going overboard if you want to. But I hate when miniatures don't give you any option. It's either paint crappy or paint everything with high detail. And I don't know, when something has way too much decoration, way too many things, and you have to basically focus on small details all over the place all the time, it gets tiresome very fast, very fast. So I understand sculptors who want to put lots of stuff in the miniature because they basically drawing. But sculpting miniatures to be painted and drawing are two different things. Very different, okay? One is a drawing, you keep it yourself, that's the copy that you're gonna have, and you can go and have fun with it and paint as many small details, and you know, it's yours. But when you sculpt things, you need to think, okay, what is the guy who's gonna receive these and put paint to it? What are they gonna think? Are they gonna be happy with it, or are they just gonna hate every single small detail that I'm gonna put on them? And I think people are quite conscious about that. So good sculptors usually just sculpt what you need to have in the miniatures. But I like how Games Workshop used to do this thing. Is you got those big boxes of regimental troops, and then the details were glue on. If you wanted to put some small pouches or daggers or something like that, you will get them on the sprue, you cut it, and then you glue them to the miniature. But nowadays, wow, okay, the starter set for 40k, the new one. I mean, the miniatures are magnificent, but don't get me wrong, I really like the miniatures, but holy crap, man, some of those characters, I can see you going hours into them. Even if you paint them like I do, like quick for gaming, it's a little bit too much. ¿Qué tal, Trapi? Estás llegando al final ya. So Moonface, okay. We have a warrior priest vote, but we also have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Beneath the Flagstones is voting twice, so 3. So it's 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's see what Trappy says. Trappy, we are voting for the miniature tomorrow, so I'm gonna give you some options. The wizard, this guy, okay. Then we have the zealot, the priest, or whatever it is, and then we have Moonface, this guy. Which one would you like to see painted tomorrow? Beneath the Flagstones, I absolutely agree with you. That's why the old school miniatures are going to be always classics, because they allow you to have fun without forcing you to do things that you don't really want to do. Because you know what I mean, right? You guys want to get that pile of shame painted. And if every miniature that you paint is gonna take you 1 whole week, then that pile of shame is not going anywhere anytime soon. So let's paint in between the flagstones. Bam, there we go. Por aquí. Y por aquí. Y por acá. Y por allá. Y let's see. This one. Vale. Okay. I think it's okay, and I'm gonna give it a crack here because I went a little bit over, so it's gonna be a crack now. There's that. All right, the always nerve-wracking process of unsticking it from the base so I can paint the edges. A little bit of twist to get that blue tack out of it. It's a lot of blue tack here. Okay, my thick brush. Let's get a good nice black coat on the sides. Alright. And then it's always Agrax, Earthshade, and some green and some filth. Vale. Beneath the flagstones, whilst this is drying a little bit, okay? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. And then Trappy, let me see. I was playing a D&D combat. I was very busy. I will watch your video completely later. No need, man. It's okay. Every day is something new to be painted. Trappy here likes playing Dungeons and Dragons solo, which is a lot of work. He makes videos about that in Spanish. Unfortunately, if well, I think there are subtitles nowadays for everything, right? Or even captions. But he likes doing videos on playing Dungeons and Dragons solo, which I really admire, because he has the patience to read all the rules, learn all the rules, and apply them playing on his own. Where is my Agrax Earthshade? This is not it. Well. This is not it. What did I do with it? Aha, here it is. Okay, just give me a millisecond because I want to do this so it dries, and then I'm gonna show you something that I think you're gonna like. We were talking about Advanced Hero Quest yesterday, Enhanced Advanced Hero Quest yesterday, and then I'm gonna show you something that I did, I think for Christmas. It was a gift to myself during Christmas. I like giving gifts to myself, you know, because that's what you do. When you're an adult, it's like, yeah, you know, I deserve this. I deserve this. I work for it. I mean, I could live with a few less things, let's be honest, but still, giving gifts to yourself is not a bad thing. So, okay, vale. Let's leave it drying, and let me just clean up a little bit my desktop. Okay, this guy's here, they're here. When I can come too bad. And let's zoom out. Let's change the here. Zoom out. Oh my god, I didn't change the name of this thing. It's not Undead Band. See, I put too many bobs and whistles in this, and this is an elf. An elf. What the heck? Ah, it's too late, isn't it? I could change it. Let me just change that. Before I show you that, okay? Wood elf. Bam. And okay, that's better. Bueno, a ver dónde están mis cosas, okay? Something I want to show you. It's right here. Now, I took the enhanced hero quest. And since I'm a such big nerd, I printed them like proper book quality. Farther away. There you go. Yes, I got myself a hardcover print. Look at this. This is, and I splurged on it, okay? I went full thick paper and I got myself the proper books. And it's so nice that you get all these things in the community, and then not only do you get them and they look professional made, it looks professional made 100%. I wish sometimes I don't know, I'm always gonna repeat myself. It's like, Games Workshop, get your crap together, man. There is a whole community waiting for you just to do things like this, which is be respectful to the original game, fix it up and make it available to us, and believe me, people will buy it. Okay, look at this. The Book of Adventures is so cool because the rules at the end of the day are the rules, okay? But the Book of Adventures just has all the Shattered Amulet adventures from Warhammer, from Advanced Hero Quest. It has rules for travel. It has the quest for the Lich Master. It has the quest for Sonic Klinge, which is something that was on White Dwarf. The Priestess of Pleasure, also White Dwarf. The Dark Beneath the Wall, which is Gotrek and Felix. This is on my radar. This is something I really want to play, but I need to come up with the miniatures for the other characters in that. This is Troll Slayer is my favorite book from Warhammer. Period. And it's just a repository of, you know, the tales from William King. Fantastic stuff. The Eyes of Chaos, the Troll Slayer's Oath. All the adventures that he came up with are here. All the official stuff, plus the bestiary. So just in here you have so much stuff to play. Why is Games Workshop not doing this? How? Okay, believe it or not, I did this. Look, man, after you show me what you got, okay, I believe everything from you. Hello, Hector, buenas noches, ¿qué tal estás? After you show me your table and whatnot, I believe anything and everything from you. So, yeah, definitely. All right, let's finish this guy. Yeah, how about that? Let's get him finished, sorted out, and then I'll take the usual pictures and put them on Instagram and YouTube and make a nice cover for the video. Bueno, vamos allá. Last steps. Best part of the paint job is always the last steps. Here we are. The ones that they make you feel like, okay, I've done something useful today. There we go. This is how you want to go to bed every night. Finish one miniature. Finish one miniature every night. Or try to, you know, get ahead on your paint. Just put some paint on some plastic. Go to bed. Wake up feeling like, oh, yeah, I remember I did something cool last night. I gave myself a gift. The gift of painting something that you bought and you wanted to have painted. It's such a fantastic thing. I promise you, you wake up like $1 million. I don't know. Is anybody else saying this? Is anybody else thinking the way I think? Am I just a huge nerd? This is something that it doesn't make sense to anybody else. It's like I just like going to bed feeling that I painted one more miniature or more miniatures than one, okay? That feeling for me, as I said, it's like waking up on Christmas Day, because I know that I did something cool. And you know what happens usually? It's because I don't have time now to take the pictures as I want them to be taken. I wake up, I make my coffee, get my camera, and then I come back to the miniature and take proper pictures with proper lighting. And that's it. So, let's see, a ver. Yo también, gracias Héctor, muchísimas gracias. Llegas un poco al final del stream, pero no pasa nada, porque llegas en el mejor momento. You're coming to the best moment, which is when we have the finished product. Let me just zoom out a little bit, so we don't zoom out, I said. Okay, so, big mistake yesterday. I thought it was a she-elf. No, she's not. He's a guy. He's a guy. And I decided to paint him like a wood elf, because it makes sense to have a wood elf exploring the caverns of the old world, because at the end of the day, that's where they also live. High elves, a little bit more rare, but a wood elf. Plenty of green, very nice surfaces to do things. I did a little bit of a freehand over here just to use the dark green that I had made. And a little bit of contrast, because if you have that much green, you want to have some contrast. The contrast was made with the yellow brown from the armor and a little bit of purple on this NMM type of sword. Very easy to paint, as you can see. NMM is not a big deal when you're doing it on swords. In other areas, yes, it's a little bit more difficult, more so if you're painting volumes that are like spheric and whatnot. But for blades, is super easy to tackle, okay? Nothing to worry about. Bueno, pues, yeah. I think nerds here, we join and we all do the same thing. So, me dice aquí beneath the flagstones. Check out Lost Minis to get the minis for those quests, but... Is it Lost Minis? You mean the website where you find, is that like the Lost Minis wiki, you mean? Because if I find something that I like and then I start hunting for it on eBay and I see that I'm gonna spend 200 euros in a few miniatures, it's not gonna happen. I'm sorry. So David says the best effect is the morning on the day after, looking at your newly painted war doll. Correct, 100%. I think we all agree on that, okay? How many minis roughly do you have in your collection painted? Okay, I'm just ballpark here, okay? Over 1,000, I guess. That's my guess. Probably around that, because I have several Warhammer Fantasy armies. I have a couple of Warhammer 40k armies, and then all the Hero Quest stuff, all the Warhammer Quest stuff. So I will say around 1,000. Around 1,000. I'm not really sure. Okay, and you're right. Any time dedicated to the arts is the best time that we call spending. Yeah, I mean, it's you're basically here in this world for a couple of purposes, and one is being witness to what is around you, and another thing is creating something so other people can be witness to it. That's my philosophy of life. Okay, so yeah, you're a huge nerd, so I am. Yeah, we all gather. Birds of a feather flock together, you know. And muchas gracias, Hector. I'm glad you guys like it. It was a very fun paint job again, okay? So finishing a mini feels great. The moment of victory is brief, and then on to the next one. There is always some more in your pile of shame, so you know what you have to do. Remember, guys, this is Rush the Wash, and I always pointed it this way, but this is Rush the Wash over here. My name is Miguel, and I'll catch you tomorrow or on the next one. Un beso y adiós.
Exploring dungeons, slaying monsters.